Hello friends, welcome to Coding for You. My name is Ram Singhal. So today in this video we are going to discuss some frequently asked Java interview questions. So these questions might be easy, but interview always try to confuse you while asking such questions. So let's get started. Let's see the first question. Why Java programming is not considered as a pure object-oriented programming language? So this is the very frequently asked Java question that interviewer generally. So you can answer this question in this way, like oops expect that everything should be encapsulated between the Java between the classes and the object. But Java uses primitive data types like int, char, double, and boolean and long. So that's why Java is not considered as a fully object-oriented programming language. However, Java has rever classes for all of these data types, but they still exist. So that's why Java is not a fully object-oriented programming language. Let's move to the next question. So what will happen if we make a class private? So a class cannot be private, and if we try to declare the class as private, it will give us a compilation error. But we can declare the inner classes as a private class. So actually, nested class can be declared as private and as well as public classes. So let's see in a demo that what is the error. So if we see here, I have declared the sample class as a private class. So we are getting the compilation error, and it says that it is a legal modifier for the sample class. Only public and abstract and final keywords are permitted for a class. But as we see that inner class can be declared as a private. So let's see. Try to declare a inner class if it could be declared as a private or not. So suppose sample inner class. I named it as a sample inner class, and then so yeah, it is not giving me any compilation error, and let me change it to public. So yeah, now you can see the error is gone. There is no compilation error. So we can declare the inner class as a private class, but if we try to declare the class with the file name as a private class, it will give us a compilation error. So now there is a question that interview may ask you, that is it compulsory to write a constructor in each class? So you can answer this question in this way, that it is not compulsory to write a constructor in a class. Compiler automatically gives us the default constructor, but if we define a parameterized constructor, then compiler will not give us the default constructor. Let's see a demo with this. Here we have a sample class. Let me create an object of this sample class. So now you can see there is no compilation error. This new keyword is simply calling the default constructor. But now what if I define a parameterized constructor? So let's see. This is the constructor. Now here I pass an argument. Suppose int a, and here I print the sam a. So now you can see it is giving us a comparison error. Why? Because the here we can see that a parameterized constructor already exists. So compiler will not give us any default constructor. So we have to create a default constructor as well to remove this error. So let's see. So yeah, now you can see the error is gone. So I mean to say, if parameterized constructor already exists in the class, then we need to define the default constructor as well. If we want to create an object like this, but if we don't have any default parameterized constructor in this class, so we don't need to define this as well. This will not throw any compilation error. Okay. So the next question, interviewer may ask you that constructor overloading is possible or not. So we just see that we have overloaded two constructors that we have same name, but the one is with no argument and one is with the argument, and we can create as many as constructors as we want. So yes, overloading is possible for the constructors. It depends on the requirement. Let's see the next question, where we can use the final keyword and what are the consequences of final keyword. So if interviewer asks you this question, then you can tell all the scenarios where we can use the final keyword. So final keyword can be used within three scenarios: with the classes, with the methods, or with the variables. So let's see with the demo what it does with classes and what it does with methods and variables. So actually, if we declare a class as final, so the class cannot be inherited, and if we declare a method as a final, so that method cannot be overridden in its child class. And if we declare a variable as a final variable, so then it cannot be reinitialized. So let's see a demo. Here I have created a class, parent sample class, and I have declared it as a final class, and I have declared one method inside this as well. Now if we try to inherit this class, parent sample class, it will give us a compilation error. So let's see. If I try to inherit this sample parent class, sorry, parent sample class, so let me copy. Simply if we try to extend it, it will give us a comparison error, and it will say that remove the final modifier of parent sample class. So you can see parent sample class, this is a final class, and we cannot inherit this class in any of the class. So let's remove this. Now let's try it with the method. So suppose we have one method here. Let me declare it as final. Let me do it without final first. So if we want to override this method, suppose I have removed this final as well, and now I can extend this class easily. And now if I try to overload this method without final, now it is as of now it is not declared as final. So let me try to override this. So now we can see this method is overridden in child class. So now let's annotate it as well with the override. So now you can see this method is override. Now if we declare this method as final in the parent class, suppose I declare it as a final and save this. So now if we go to this class, we see that this method cannot be override now, because the method in the parent class is declared as a final method. So we can say that final methods cannot be overridden. Now let's see it with the variable. So suppose I declare here a variable int a, and I initialize it 9. Suppose I declared it as a final variable. Now if I try to reinitialize this in this method, suppose I try to reinitialize it with 10. So now you can see that I am unable to reinitialize this. So this is giving me an error that you cannot reinitialize the final variable. So now we can say that final variables cannot be reinitialized. It can be initialized once only during the declaration. Either we can initialize them in the constructor. So that's a different concept. We may cover that concept as well in upcoming videos when we discuss final in more detail. So the next question that interviewer may ask you that what is the difference between the finally, and the finalize keywords. So these are the three keywords used in Java. So let me explain you. Actually, we just see the final keyword. It can be used over the classes, over the variables, over the methods to provide some kind of restriction over it. That we cannot inherit the classes, if we cannot override the methods, we cannot deinitialize the variables. Now if we talk about finally, so this is a actually a block in the program that we generally use with a try catch block. So irrespective of handling the exceptions, the finally block code always execute. Means suppose if there is a exception, it will go to catch block, handle the exception, and then it will go to finally block. And if suppose there is no exception, so it will execute the all the code in the try block, and then it will directly go to finally block. So the code in the finally block is always get executed, and then we have finalized. So it is actually a method which is generally called before the garbage collection of an object. So finalize method what does it helps us in the cleanup activity Let's see another very common and very tricky question. Interviewer may ask you that what is the difference between the overloading and the overriding. So when two or more methods exist in the same class with the same name but different parameters with different method signatures, then that is called method overloading. But when the method signatures are same, like name and parameters are same for the two methods, then and they are present in the different class, like in the superclass and the child class, then this is called the overriding. So method overriding happen in the case of inheritance. So let's see a demo for both how we can implement method overloading and how we can implement method overriding. So first let's see a method overloading. So I have created a class here, sample class, and I have created a main method, and I have made three methods which are overloading. So I have created a method name with name sum. Here you see that I am passing an argument of type int, and here we are printing the sum of the a with the 10, and we are returning nothing. So the return type is void. And here I am doing like if no argument is there in the method, then I am directly returning 10, integer value. And if there are two arguments, then I am returning the sum of those two integers. So you can see here the name of the all the methods are same, that is sum. And here we can see that it does not depend on the return type. The return type here you see there is void, and here you see the return type is int. Here you see the return type is int. So you just keep in mind one thing, that it does not depend on the return type. Suppose if I return the parameter from here, you can see it is giving us compilation error. But it should be if it depends on the return type, because you see there the return type are different. Here we have void return type, and here we have int return type. So it is giving us compilation error because it does not differentiate on the basis of the return type. So ultimately you have to provide different number of arguments. Either the argument type should be different. Suppose if you pass here int a, and if you, so now it is working fine. And if suppose you are like passing here double a, so now it's working fine. Now if we like do the same void, however it is giving me an error because it should be 10.0. Yeah, okay, sorry. So we don't need any return statement there because we are not returning anything. So you can see this is the overloading. There is one bonus question for you. Suppose if the interviewer asks you to implement the compile time polymorphism, you can do the same. You can show him the example of method overloading. Now let's see the implementation of method overriding as well. So here I have declared a class sample class, and I am extending the parent sample class. There I have declared one more class, parent sample class. So this is the parent class, and this is the child class. So now in the parent class I have one method named method, and here there is only one statement that I am in the parent class, and here we are extending this class, and here we are overriding the same method. So we if we are overriding one method, we can use @override annotation. So as of now, we are just using it, and I am going to pick the questions for this annotation later. That is it optional or is it compulsory, and what are the effects of this annotation. So let's focus on the method overriding as of now. So here I have created a very simple example. Now let's try to call this method object.method. So let's try to call this. Now let's try to execute this, and now you can see that the method of the child class has been executed. Suppose the interviewer may ask you that what will happen if I create the object of parent class here. So suppose I have taken the reference of the parent sample class and created a object of sample class. So what will happen? Sometimes it might be confusing. Some students might answer that now it is the object of the parent class. So parent class method will execute. No, it will execute the same method in the child class, because here we are creating the object of the child class. So it does not depend on the reference. It actually depends on the type of object which has been created. Now the question may arise, what I need to do if I want to call the method of the parent class. So there are two options. If suppose I create the object of this class here, so this would be possible. So now if I call, you can see I'm in the parent class. So parent class method has been called. But uh, suppose if I want to call this parent class method from the child class object, so what I can do, I can call it here, super dot method. So I can use super keyword here, and what it will do, it will first call the parent class method, and then it will execute the child class method, the code in the child class. So here you can see first I called this method, so this method will be called, and then it will call the super class method, that is parent class method. So it will print in the parent class, and then this will print this statement in the child class. So now suppose here we can see that the method signature is same. Here we have public void method with no arguments, and here we also have public void method with no arguments. Suppose if I passed a argument here int a, so now let's see what will happen. So you can see here I am getting a compilation error. So here I suppose I also pass, so that I can remove error from this line, but still you see that I am getting compilation error because I am trying to override it, but the method signature is different. Method signature in the parent class is accepting an argument, but in the child class I'm not giving any argument in the method class, so the method signature is different. But in the overriding we need to follow the same method signature. So I hope now you have much better idea about the method overloading and method overriding. So let's move ahead, see the next question. So here is a question that an interviewer may ask, that what will happen if I don't write the static keyword in the main function. You know that we always write public static void main. So what will happen if I don't write the main function? So, sorry, what will happen if I don't write the static keyword in the main function? So what will happen? Let's see, or let's first read this what I have written here. You know, static methods can be directly called by the class name without creating objects. So obviously we can call the main method also without creating the object of the class. So main function is called by JVM using class name. So main method is called by JVM. We know it is the starting point of the of our program of any application. So what happen? It is this main method is called by the JVM, and JVM does not create object of the class. So JVM is not going to create the object of the class. What it does, it calls the main method with its class name. So suppose if we don't write the static keyword in the main function, what will happen? It will try to find the main method that should be static, but with the class because it will try to call the main method with its class name, but it will give us runtime error because it will not find any such method that can be directly called by the class name, because there is no static main method present in the class. So let's see a demo also, so that we can get more understanding. So here I am doing in the same class, that is sample class. So here I have one method public static void main. So let me remove the this static keyword from here, and now let me try to run this method. Let's see what the error we are getting. Yeah, so you can see the error in the console that main method is not static in the sample class. So main method static nahi hai. Please define the main method as public static void main. So it is suggesting us that the main method should be defined as this, the public static void main. So you can see that JVM is unable to find the main method, and it is giving us an error. So now let's see another question related to the main function. What if I write static public void instead of public static void? So here you can see that what generally happens, we write public static void main. So the question is, what if I exchange the place of this public to static and static to public? So what will happen? So actually there will be no effect because the order, it does not see the order of the these keywords like static and public. It will not give us any compilation error. You can I hope you are not seeing any compilation error. And if I try to run this, it will successfully execute, and it will give us the required result. So it's we can exchange these keywords. It does not see any order we don't need to follow any specific order that we first need to write the public and then we need to write the static. So we can write in any order these two keywords. Let's try one more thing. I have never tried it, but let's try now. Suppose if I wrote void somewhere between, so does it matter? Yes, it matters. We cannot write, we cannot change the place of the void, but we can like exchange the public and static, but we cannot change the place of the void because it is giving us any comparison error. So this is also a bonus question for you, that we can only change the place of the static and public, but not the void. So this is a very tricky question. You have to keep in mind that there will be no effect. So here you can see that program will execute successfully without any problem. So let's see next question. So this is one of the important question, that what are the features introduced in Java 8? This is the question that interviewer might ask in the 99.99% case if you are giving an interview for the in the Java domain, that what are the features introduced in Java 8. So you can mention some of the features that were introduced in the Java 8, like functional interfaces and lambda expressions. This is the most important feature that was like introduced in the Java 8, and interviewer may ask different type of questions from this topic. So you need to be some hands-on practice as well on this topic. We can cover it in the later videos. So and then another feature that was introduced, that for each method in the table interface. So we can use for each method now in the Java as well. And then after this, we have the Java has introduced optional classes in the Java 8, and then default and static methods in the interfaces. We don't have any default and static methods in the interfaces before Java 8, but now default and static methods provide a great like support for developing an applications. So we will also cover this feature in upcoming videos. And then Java Stream. This is one of the topic interviewer favorite topic to ask questions for the candidate which is giving interview on Java. And then there is Java datetime API was introduced in Java 8, and then collection API improvements. So there were some improvements in the collection APIs and Java IO improvement. So there are some improvements over Java IO as well. So these are the features that were introduced in Java 8. So if interviewer is asking you that what are the features introduced in Java 8, you can mention few of them. If you if you forget some of them, it would work. But please don't forget to mention functional interfaces and lambda expression, and then stream API, and then optional class and Java datetime API. So these are the four. And you can also mention default and static methods and interface. This is one of the important feature that were introduced in Java 8. So these starting 5 and 6 are the very important. So yeah, this is all in this video. We have covered 10 most important questions that are frequently asked in Java, which are quite easy and tricky. So we are going to create some more videos for the Java interview questions for your preparations. And you can like this video and share this video if you feel this video is helpful for you. If you have any query, you can comment in the comment box, and if you have any suggestions for me, you can comment that as well. I will try to improve myself for upcoming videos, keeping your suggestions in the mind. And in the next video, I'm going to share my interview experience, where interviewer asked me 50 plus Java questions. So I'm going to make one video over those questions, and share my whole interview experience in that video. Thanks for watching this video. Please do subscribe for more such videos, and I'm going to share my experience in the next video. Bye.